Life and death are very common, but maybe too common. In this world, there are many plants and animals going extinct. Endangerment is a huge issue, and one that involves the animals as well as the environment in which they live and interact with one another. Endangered species are species whose numbers are so small they are at risk of going extinct. Today, there are over 6,306 species on the endangered species list. While some recognize the true danger of these species becoming extinct, some believe it will not affect them or make a difference. To truly change and save these endangered species, those people need to understand the consequences of not protecting these endangered species. So today, I want to argue why there should be stricter laws for protecting endangered species and how by not protecting these species, it affects plants, animals, and humans. Firstly, according to EndangeredEarth.com, there are 16,306 species that are on the endangered species list. This includes 1 in 4 mammals, 1 in 8 birds, and 1/3 of all amphibians. If these laws are enforced, these numbers are going to increase drastically. Elements like poaching affects animals greatly. According to greentumble.com, between 2007 and 2016, there has been a 90% increase in rhino slaughters. Today, other rhinos still face the same threat. It is so bad that armed guards are often hired to protect baby rhinos and nursing mothers. Laws need to be enforced like these to protect these endangered species. For example, Nepal is a country working to achieve zero rhino poaching by enforcing stricter poaching penalties, and because of this, rhino population in the last 3 years has increased by 21%. I believe policies like these need to be enforced all over the world to protect every species. This includes plants. Ecosystems are arrangements where plants and animals all depend on each other for survival. The disappearance of any species or animal disrupts the cycle and sets off a chain reaction. Plants and animals are obviously very different, but they can be similar. For example, according to OneGreenPlanet.org, the sugar maple tree, which is on the endangered species list, has the ability to transfer water through its roots to supply water to nearby plants. So if this tree goes extinct, the plants that it's supplying water to will die. And if there are plants or animals in the area that have to eat off the plants and survive off of it, they will have to find other means of survival and food. And so they will eventually die or have to move to find more food. And if some people will eat those animals that eat the plants, they will have to find other means of survival. And that's ongoing, the chain reaction. In order to protect and keep plants like this alive, we need to get involved and join forces with organizations like the National Wildlife Federation, which today helps the world's wildlife and endangered species by advocating conservation, encouraging habitat protection, recreating habitats, and helping implement wildlife plans. We as well depend on these plants and animals to stay alive. So now comes the question, why should you care? Well, if you would like to continue breathing, that's why you should care. By using the energy and sunlight, plants can convert carbon dioxide and water into carbohydrates and oxygen. This process is called photosynthesis. Plankton in the sea and plants, or green plants, can provide us with oxygen and also food. Although many might not know it, all species help in the creating of food that we eat daily. Approximately 1/3 of the world's crops depend on natural pollinators. This includes bees. According to BBC.com, most of our crop plants rely on these insects to produce seeds and will not survive, let alone provide us with food. This is why the decline in pollinating insects has provoked a lot of concern. Recently, there has been an uproar about bumblebees going extinct. In fact, the rusty bumblebee. The rusty bumblebee has declined by 87%, according to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service website. Therefore, these bumblebees, as well as many others, have made it onto the endangered species list. An estimated 80% of the food in grocery stores are available on the shelves due to bees pollinating the plants and flowers. This fact can be found on OneGreenPlanet.org. In order for us to keep breathing and to keep eating, we need to protect these species. Federal organizations like the Endangered Species Act, although they do a lot, I think simple solutions like planting gardens and vegetation around their yards or around their patios can attract bees and keep them pollinating. In conclusion, we know that species have appeared and disappeared for many years. This is a natural phenomenon. However, these species have been vanishing at a much faster rate, affecting plants, animals, and humans. And we use stricter laws in order to save plants, animals, and ourselves, to continue the natural food cycle, and to continue a good chain reaction. Instead of a chain reaction that results in one or all of the species to die. We have to get involved with organizations like the National Wildlife Federation that help endangered species, and to also research species that are endangered in our area, and come up with simple solutions just like planting gardens, to get involved and to make a change and to keep laws enforced. Thank you.
All right, Garrett, what did you think?
I thought at the beginning the topic and the point of view that you were trying to take was very easy to pick out, which was the endangered species and how we should help prevent endangered species from actually becoming extinct. I thought that was very easy to pick out from the intro, but you could project your voice a little better and also make eye contact with the audience. You're relying a lot on your cards, and I get it, it's pretty hard to be up there and talking in front of all of us and really establish yourself as the dominant figure for that moment. But when you make eye contact and you don't shuffle around as much, or your movement is more not choreographed but with purpose, then it gives the speech a lot more impact. You did have a lot of facts and statistics, which reinforced you as as educated in your topic, which I really liked. The only thing being that there weren't a lot of citations that I could hear from. I might have not been paying too much attention, but I was listening, and I was listening for the citations as much as I could just to see if they were in there. And but yeah, other than that, just make eye contact, don't shuffle around as much, don't rely on the cards, and you're good.
All right, I'm going to agree with the idea that you need to project a little bit more, especially at the beginning of the speech. I thought you got better as you were speaking, but like right at the very first, it was hard to figure out what that first sentence was even saying. I did think, though, that your purpose statement was very clear. You actually have two parts to the purpose statement. That's a little complicated. There's no layout of what the secondary points are going to be, so you need a better preview. You don't really have one, and that's a drawback. The structure, it sounds kind of topical. It doesn't really seem like it's building like a persuasive speech would, with developing the need argument first. It seems like it's more topical and informative in nature. We've got poaching and plants and the National Wildlife Federation, and finally we get what steps that we can do in the process. I think the things that we can do in the process actually includes an additional point kind of separate about the bees, and I like the idea of the bees being part of the speech. I think that needs to come earlier, and you need to talk to us more about how, despite all of the things that we've done to try and prevent animals from becoming extinct or disappearing, we're running into problems. And then you could talk about the poaching issue. You could say sometimes we're not aware of the problems that are happening right in front of us, and talk about the bee issue. You can say there are organizations that are designed to do this, but they can't do it by themselves, or they can't do it with the resources that they have, and you need to build that up a little bit. As it is, it's like I'm supposed to support the National Wildlife Federation and plant some flowers, and that doesn't seem like enough of a goal for the speech at the end. I mean, perfectly willing to plant some flowers and say, good job, National Wildlife Federation, but I imagine that they would like more than just an attaboy for that, is you need to donate some money or support a cause that they believe in. If there's a flaw with any of the environmental protections that exist, like in the Endangered Species Act, it doesn't get discussed here, and I think that's a little bit of a problem also. All right, now delivery issues, we mentioned at the beginning that I think you're a little too quiet. You do have the pacing feet that are going on, and you try to make it natural, but at the beginning it's like you're crossing your legs and you just look nervous. And then later on, even though it is mostly just pacing, because it happens so often, that's the thing that draws attention to it. There's nothing wrong with changing the orientation when you're speaking and moving from one part of the room to the other, except that you're doing it so often that it just seems like I can't land any place. You're like a hummingbird. I can't land any place. I just got to keep flying along. And, we don't want you to become extinct as a result of that. That would not be good. I thought you had a nice summary of the points that you were trying to make at the end of the speech, so you did have a good summary of what the content of your argument was, and that helps a little bit. I think that makes it a little bit stronger. It would be even better if you had a nice, exit line too, as opposed to just, the kind of perfunctory thank you sort of thing. If we had a powerful exit line, I think that would work better. All right, thank you. Karen is going to be our next speaker. And let's see. Adrian is supposed to do the written evaluation. Shay is supposed to do the oral evaluation.